I have eaten the same breakfast every morning for 40 years. Oatmeal, steel cut, not instant, a small drizzle of olive oil, a handful of walnuts, and whatever berries are in season, a glass of water before anything else. That is it. No supplements, no powders, no complicated protocol. Just that bowl every morning for 40 years. I want to tell you how I got there. Not the nutrition science version, the real version. The one that starts in a hospital ward in 1971 and ends at this kitchen table every morning at 6:15. I was not always a person who ate carefully. In my 20s and 30s, I ate the way nurses eat. Quickly, whatever was available at odd hours, hospital food from the canteen, whatever the children needed that I then finished off the plate. I was not thinking about what I was eating. I was thinking about everything else, which is, I think, how most people eat, not badly on purpose, just not thinking. Then I started noticing something in the ward, in the charts, in the conversations I had with patients in those last days when there was nothing left to be but honest. I started noticing a pattern, what people ate and what they wished they had eaten were almost never the same thing. There was a man named William, 1,974. He was 61 years old. He had been a sales manager, business lunches his whole career, steak and potatoes, bread at every meal, 2 glasses of something every evening. He told me this not as a confession. He told me this the way a person describes a life they cannot quite believe they lived. He said, "Frances, I ate for pleasure for 40 years. I never once ate for function. I never once thought, what does this body need? I only ever thought, what do I want right now?" He looked at me and then he said, "I wish somebody had told me they were the same body. The one I was enjoying and the one I would need later, the same body." And I wrote that down. I wish somebody had told me they were the same body. And I went home that evening, looked at what I had eaten that day, and I started paying attention, not obsessively, not with deprivation, just attention. The way a nurse pays attention to a patient. What does this body actually need? Is there someone listening right now who is eating the way I used to eat, not thinking about it, just managing, just getting through, eating whatever is available at whatever hour it becomes available? William's words are for you. They're the same body. The one you are using today and the one you will need in 30 years. You do not get a different one later. You get this one. Treat it accordingly. And now let me tell you about the bowl, because I want to be specific. Not because I think everyone should eat exactly what I eat, but because Frances says things specifically, or she does not say them at all. The oatmeal, steel cut, not rolled. It moves through the body slowly. A nurse thinks about the body as a system, and you want to give it things that work with the system, not things that spike it and crash it. Slow fuel, steady, the way you want to run all day. The olive oil. This one I learned from a patient named Elias, 1969. He was 83 years old, Greek, from a small village. He had been in America for 40 years, but he had never changed the way he ate. Every morning, bread and olive oil. Then later, in America, oatmeal and olive oil. He adapted the container. He never adapted the olive oil. I asked him why. He said, "Francis, my grandfather lived to 94. His grandfather lived to 91. They all ate this. I am not going to be the one who stops." He said it completely seriously. I am not going to be the one who stops. He was not wrong. Elias died at 86, which for 1969 was remarkable. The walnuts, I added those in 1981 after I read enough cardiology research to understand what omega-3 fatty acids do to a brain and a heart over decades. Not a supplement, the actual food. I am a nurse. I want the real thing, not the capsule version of the real thing. A handful, that is all. The berries. This one is about color. When I was nursing, I noticed something. The patients who ate the most color, real color from plants and not dye, seemed to have something the others did not. I cannot prove this scientifically. I am a nurse, not a researcher, but I observed it across 31 years. Color on the plate, real color, not beige, not brown, not the color of something that came out of a package. Color from something that grew, the water before anything else. This I learned from my own body. I noticed in my 50s that I spent the first hour of every day slightly dehydrated. A nurse who spent 30 years telling patients to drink more water, not doing it herself. We are always the last ones to follow our own advice. One glass before anything else every morning for 40 years. It is the simplest thing I do and possibly one of the most important. Now, I want to tell you the thing that will sound too simple, the thing that most health content will never say because it cannot sell anything. The single most important food lesson I learned from 31 years of nursing, not from the research, not from the journals, from sitting with people in their last days and listening to what they actually said. Almost no one talked about specific foods they regretted. Almost no one. What they talked about was eating alone. The meals they ate by themselves, too busy, too rushed, too important to stop and sit with someone. There was a woman named Barbara, 1979, 70 years old, a very successful executive who had eaten most of her meals at her desk for 20 years. And she said to me, "Francis, I ate good food. I bought the right things. I read the articles, but I ate alone. I ate at my desk. I ate in cars. I ate standing over the sink. I never sat down with someone and ate slowly and talked about something that was not work. Not enough. Not nearly enough." She said, "That is what I regret about food. Not the food, the eating alone in I have thought about Barbara for 45 years. I eat breakfast alone most mornings now. Robert is gone. The children are scattered. But when Patty calls on Sunday, I make sure I am sitting at this table with something in front of me, a cup of tea at least. When Thomas visits, I actually cook, something that takes time, something that smells like effort. Because Barbara taught me that the food is almost secondary. The sitting down is the point. The slowing down is the point. The being with someone is the point. Are you eating alone right now? Not just this morning. In general, most of your meals by yourself, at a screen, over a sink, in a car. The research from Blue Zone communities, the places where people live longest, says that one of the things they consistently have in common is communal eating. Meals shared, meals slow, meals that are about more than fuel. Barbara knew this at 70 from the inside. She knew it too late to change it. You know it now, while you can still change it. I stopped eating processed food in 1984. Not all at once, but gradually, over a few years. When I could no longer read the ingredients and know what they were, that was my rule. If I could not picture where this ingredient came from, a plant, an animal, the ground, I put it back. Simple rule. Nobody sold it to me. I made it up from what I watched. I also stopped eating large amounts of anything in 1988, the year I retired. When I stopped moving as much, I stopped needing as much. The body is honest about this if you listen to it. The Okinawan people have an expression, harahachi bu, eat until you are 80% full. I had practiced this for 30 years without knowing there was a name for it. The body works better when it is not overwhelmed, the way a hospital ward works better when it is not overwhelmed. Same principle. Give the system what it needs, not more than it needs. And there is one more thing I want to say about the patients who ate the best, the ones who seemed to have figured it out before they got to that bed. They almost always described food with gratitude, not discipline, not restriction, not rules, gratitude. The woman from Sardinia I nursed in 1975, 81 years old. She described every meal she remembered as if it were a gift. The tomatoes from her mother's garden, the bread her neighbor made, the olive oil from her family's trees. She did not eat perfectly by any modern standard. She ate gratefully. She ate slowly. She ate with people she loved. And she was 81 years old, and she remembered every meal like it mattered, because it did. And so, what do I eat? The same bowl every morning for 40 years. Oatmeal, olive oil, walnuts, berries, water first. Simple food I can name every ingredient of, not too much of anything, with someone when I can manage it, slowly when I can manage it, gratefully when I remembered to. That is the whole thing. No protocol, no plan, no supplement. Just what William taught me, they are the same body, the one you are using today and the one you will need. Treat it like it matters, because it does. because you are going to need it for a long time yet. William, Elias, Barbara, the woman from Sardinia, whose name I have forgotten, but whose tomatoes I have not. You taught me more about food than any textbook. I hope wherever you are, the meal is good and there is someone to eat it with.